Hey folks, it's Anne reporting live from the You Might Know Her From Patreon. We are providing you a little sneak peek of our Tony Awards 2026 recap here on the main feed so you can wet your whistle. And if you like what you hear, you can dive in over at the Patreon. But for now, listen up. Damien, I have to say, when they announced that Pink was going to be the host, we were all like, sure, whatever, skeptical, who cares? I'm not sure. She was a total delight. I have to say, I was so tickled by last night's Tony Awards. Full transparency, we were not super hyped. It was kind of a weaker season acting wise. And I was like, I don't know that I have a lot of horses in this race besides the Jellicle Ball, which I'm rooting for unequivocally. But I sort of went in with low expectations. And from that opening number, I said the production value has gone up. The cinematography looks cinematic. They got great camera work. I do have notes on the sound, but besides that, I think the production of the entire of the entire show was exquisite from beginning to end. It felt like old, like 90s, early 2000s award shows where they put a little bit more bang for your buck into the show. And I was so pleased. How did you feel?
I just felt like the celebrities showed up, and obviously, like, that's not what it's about. That's not all of what it is about, but it is, like, part of getting people to support Broadway and theater and the New York economy is filling the houses, getting butts there, and I think that having, mainstream celebrities presenting or just attending and showing their support of the theater and of the arts is major. And it was like Annette Bening was there. I don't did she presented, but Annette Bening was there.
Mm-hmm.
Rosie O'Donnell was there and did not present
That was weird. Why was she there but not presenting?
because she is a theater fan and she is showing support for the arts. Drew Barrymore was there and did not present, but was crying in the audience. And I was like, yeah. She is crying at Shoshana Bean's acceptance speech. I am here for. Paul Rudd was there, which I still don't quite understand. But people, the celebrities had showed up. And I think that made me happy that people seem to want theater to succeed in these dark times. I thought Pink did such an excellent job. And I thought that the opening song was just, I loved that she started flying and was doing Peter Pan. It was like,
Mm-hmm.
so it was like funny because she is known for that. And it's like the thing that you would have imagined that she would have done in some cornier version of events. But then she did that great number highlighting all of the people who were nominated, but in particular like the women nominees, especially like
Mm-hmm.
featuring them. Shout out to Anna Harada, who got to do one of the opening moments of Lady Marmalade, which was so exciting for me and us. I felt like she seemed so excited, and that
Yeah.
like made my heart flutter. Seeing Marla Mendel like doing Celine Dion in the number was funny. There was also a line that was like Mindel Grisabella, like something like Mindel Grisabella. And I was like, funny lyric, funny, like cool that Marla Mendel and Grisabella are getting shout outs in this. I will say that I rewatched it again this morning and I cried when Leah Michelle popped out and said, "We don't do it for the awards," and was like riffing. And I was like, you know what? She might be an absolute menace, and I believe that she is. But you know what she did? She showed up and she made
Yeah.
fun of herself, and she sounded good. And she is a theater star and a person who does sell tickets, which again matters and is important. And I was just like, you know what? I'm crying because she swallowed her pride and showed up and did that and made fun of herself. Mary Louise Parker Mary Louise Wilson got a shout out. A Memory Play got a shout out. They did Gitchie, Lesley Manville, Gitchie, Lori Metcalf, Megan the Stallion came out and not only presented but performed. I just thought this was so special.
I 1,000% agree. Again, the opening number is always the thing that you're most excited for, and I think they killed it. I have to say, that Neil Patrick Harris is my nemesis, but if he should be doing one thing on this earth, it is hosting. He's very good at it. He knows how to work a room, and I felt like they made everybody feel safe when he came out and did that bit with Pink at the beginning. She was like, she eased into it. I feel like then she got comfortable doing bits with him, and then I was like, oh, she knows how to work an arena. She can play Radio City. She knows how to talk to an enormous crowd.
Yep.
But I totally agree. They highlighted all the things that I wanna see, and it felt like the whole season of Broadway was up there, which I know is always the goal of the opening number, but in previous years, it has not always looked so extravagant. It felt like a big production number in all of the ways I love, where it just kept building, and maybe that's because they used Lady Marmalade, just said leading Lady
Mhm.
Marmalade, which was so
So
stupid.
stupid and cool.
But I felt like it really walked the line for me of, like, what is wonderful and what is cheesy and what is earnest about
Completely.
the Tonys, and I think you're totally right. They made specific points. Oh my god, Damien, I'm getting ahead of myself, but, like, hello, Jack O'Brien,
Mm.
uh,
Mm, mm,
and
mm.
Carrie Young doing the American Theater Wing, talk about, like, the grants that they give and the work that they do, and I just felt like everyone was making a concerted effort for this broadcast to be about how there's been slashes to funding to the arts, about how many people in our community are at high risk and free speech is at risk, and it just felt like, but it also felt fun, so I felt like it felt less preachy than in previous years, and
Completely.
actually, like, combining the sort of, politics, I'm saying that with quotes around it, but
Uh-huh.
sort of like the political age with the showbiz of it all, and it felt fun and silly and sweet. And I agree, Leah Michelle must have a new advisor because they finally got through to her, like, how she can endear herself to the masses of people who were like, "You're horrible." And again, I think she probably still is horrible and maybe a racist menace. So I'm not forgiving anything here, but making fun of yourself is one of the quickest ways to endear yourself to an audience under an award show, and I think she did it. June Squibb got an entire
Oh,
moment next to Queen Latifah.
oh,
I We're not even in the awards, but I just said that opening number was so excellent, and there were great bits throughout that I really just thought, like, this is what an award show could be, and it moved much quicker than many do for being 3 hours. I just have to say, I think it was directed by a woman this year. I'm gonna put her name in the show notes because I don't have it handy, but she should win an Emmy for this production because it was the camera work outstanding. It made Cats the Jellicle Ball feel, like, cinematic. I just feel like
it was also
100%
the
great
Chicago
production. Oh my
number,
god,
was
Chicago!
very well directed because you were able to see, like, I was like, "Are they gonna try to do, like, hide Pink's dancing?" And I was like, "Nope, they're showing the whole picture," and I thought that was
Yeah.
kind of like, it put her, she had to do it, and also it looked cool, and I was, I feel like the last several years, there's more of, like, if you pay, this is my understanding as a person who's not really in the theater industry, but my understanding is, like, if you're willing to sort of pay for a block, you can perform even if you're not a nominee. I don't know how that works for legacy shows where they
Mm,
are honoring them, such as, like, obviously a chorus line isn't running anymore. They did a thing for that, and then Chicago and Book of Mormon got moments that were like shout outs to the anniversaries. What is the 30th and the 50th, 15th?
yeah.
Um, but I don't know if that was like a commercial, like a marketing ploy, but I thought it was handled with reverence. And the Chicago one in particular, I was like, this is beautiful.
Yeah, that
It's
shot at the beginning where you get Queen Latifah, who, thank God she was there doing the intro so
her,
beautifully, and then
her
you get
wife was a
Alex
producer.
Newell
Her wife was a producer. Ebony was a producer.
on the Tony broadcast?
Yes, babe, she was a
Oh,
producer.
Ebony, we love you. We love you, Ebony. I That shot where Queen Latifah went dark and Alex Newell came up in light behind her was just like, "Oh, they really
And they
put some
sounded
thought into the production
amazing.
value." Oh my god, I just kept gasping when they sang. Their voice is so, so insane. But yeah, watching Pink do the all that jazz choreography. Oh, and also all of the little, like, was that Whitney Levitt? I don't, Dylan Mulvaney and Jesse Tyler Ferguson, and who else was
Oh,
there? Who else did the bits, the pop six
Cedric.
squish? Cedric. Oh my god, Cedric was great.
He
It was just very charming, and it felt like everybody was really game. And it doesn't always feel that way. It sometimes feels a little sad. Do you know what I mean?
totally.
It felt thrilling.
I thought the use of people like Whitney Levitt and Dylan Mulvaney in general was just really handled like beautiful. Like, I'm not trying to be too earnest. It's just like, you know, I felt like the producers and the writers and whomever was like directing it understood, like, Whitney Levitt, who is a TikTok dancing person who is on Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, helped sell tickets for Chicago, and including her, it's like it could have been sad and like a sad commercial of like, wow, Broadway's dead because we need reality stars to sell tickets. But instead, it felt like there was reverence for the fact that this person, who, yes, isn't like wasn't a theater star before, has like come and helped put money back into the theater economy and help the arts go on. And we don't need to like, praise it too much, but we can give a nod that like she's helping people watch the Tonys who maybe didn't, wouldn't have watched before. And like I was like on our Instagram yesterday, that you might know her from Instagram, and I was like going through to share stories of Tony performances that like meant something to me as a young person. And obviously there are some that are timeless, like, Dreamgirls, where I don't know that they were like young person me because I wasn't watching that Tony's in high school. But like Thoroughly Modern Millie, Forget About the Boy. I just remember watching that and being like, I want to be there. Like that's
Mhm.
what I want my life to be.
Mhm.
And Rosie's opening with, Betty Buckley and Jennifer Holliday and Patti Lupone, like being like, this is amazing. I love Rosie. And I, even then, and some weird way, even if I didn't have the language for it, understood that like Rosie wasn't talented at this thing, but that her doing it was a big deal because it helped sell tickets and it helped give theater exposure. It was like a big commercial for middle America or mainstream America, or however you want to talk about it, to come and put money into the theater economy. And I just like it. I feel, like even I feel like a theater kid still at heart, and just was tickled by those things like, fucking Whitney Levitt. I think she understood in some level what she was doing.
Yes.
Certainly the production understood what it was doing with her. Anyway, I just was like moved by that moment as well, of like protect the dolls and don't forget. Then there was that moment with the guys in the audience, and I was charmed by that too, with like Bryce, what's his name? Bryce Pickett from Gentleman's Guide, and Nick Christopher from Chess being in the audience. Like, I just felt like they really made an effort. The Sarah Chase moment where she's like, "Am I in a musical?" And it was like, she was like, "You need to be on the White Lotus," which was like a great callback to a
Yes.
conversation we were just having with our friends Jason and Daniel, who helped us build. You might know her from, about like the Carrie Coon line that has been going viral over the last like 6 months to 9 months, of about her basically saying like she wouldn't have gotten Bug if she wasn't famous for the White Lotus. And even though she like was a theater actor and has been wanting to be a theater actor, like she couldn't headline a show. And the fact that they got like a little lyric in there that's a joke, and then there was, but it was also earnest to say like, tonight you're a leading lady, you're Sarah Chase, and you're nominated alongside Anna Gasteyer. And I was like, because it's like, it's special. And like, people in different places don't know who Sarah Chase is. Even people who are love the arts and who do consume culture and who do come to New York to see theater, like don't know her by name necessarily. And it just was like a nice way to honor the theater community. But also it's like, yes, Pink is hosting, she's a pop star. Drew Barrymore is there. Why? Paul Rudd is giving out a big award. Why? But also, it's like getting fucking people to pay attention, and I just loved it.
I did too, and I have to say Sarah Chase sounded incredible on the broadcast. I was like, "Oh, I didn't remember Sarah Chase could sing that well. She sounds great." Damien, I was trying to remember, sidebar, what did we first discover Sarah Chase in like 15 years ago?
I believe she did some show at the UCB, but it was like prior to us being involved at the UCB, at least together. And it was like a show that existed before we were there. Was it like about Jennifer Aniston and Angelina Jolie
I can't remember, but
and
we were
Sarah?
like, "Who is this woman?" She
No,
was
no, no. She was in, okay, so a couple things. So yes, she did something at UCB that I one or both of us was familiar with. And then I believe she was in a show with Kate.
LaPrest and Carrie Butler, where Carrie Butler body swaps with a man and talks about her boner the entire
No,
time.
wait, she was in that? I was gonna say that she was in wasn't Kate Press in this show with Laura Benanti and Zachary Levi? And I think Sarah Chase was
She
in
loves
that.
me? We're gonna Google it. We don't know. But the point is, Damien and I would text about Sarah Chase like a long time ago before we knew her as a Broadway person. So I'm very happy for her. And it is, I feel like the Tonys that broadcast did a great job of making it feel like they invited everyone to the party. And I don't know, I think that it checked all of the boxes for me. I was crying, I was laughing, I was like snapping my fingers and like yelling at the TV about all of the great notes that Alex Newell was singing. And it was just I applaud the work that they did because I can only imagine how my work goes into like a live broadcast, and I thought it was pretty flawless. The sound design, required some work, and some people, maybe I wonder if some performers, maybe their monitors weren't working, because some people we know sound better in real life and on stage than they sounded at the Tonys. And I'm going to blame the monitors for that, because I think a number of people sounded flat and they must not have been able to hear the orchestra. That's what I'm going to say.
Absolutely. I totally agree. The sound was questionable at times, and I know live theater is, I mean, I'm sorry, like live television is difficult, but I felt like it was unfortunate because I know some people sound incredible, and maybe they sounded incredible in the room. Like that's also a thing sometimes where
Mhm.
something sounds one way in a huge space, but then what translates to our television screen sounds different or can sound a little flat or a little sharp. But yes, I thought the sound design left a little something to be desired. Also, I noticed that when I rewatched the opening this morning, that like the screens on the television in the theater had lyrics up for the opening, which I thought would have been beneficial to the at home audience, because I put closed captioning on this morning to like follow along, because I was like, I'm sure I missed jokes, and I missed so many jokes, and I thought, well then, and then I saw the video, the captions on the screen in the background, and I thought, well, they should have put those like sing along
Yeah,
along,
I think I missed most of the jokes.
because it was like I was like, it was like something 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 Sessois, and I was like, well, what? Some of the jokes I would hear like a name, and I'd be like, oh my god, Gitchie Lesley Manville is hilarious, but then it would be like something something, and I would be like, well, I missed like three words, and then I would be like, oh, memory play, that's funny, but what was it in reference to? Like I would
Right.
catch pieces.
Yeah, because you know somebody worked real hard on those lyrics, Pasek and Paul or whoever it was, worked
Yeah,
hard on
well,
that. So
shout out to, there's a version where me and you would both be like eye roll, but I was like, shout
totally.
out to them because I
They did
felt
a great
like
job.
the lyrics were funny, the songs were catchy. I mean, I guess it was Lady Marmalade. Also, that was very gay. I felt like there were a couple jokes about
Yeah.
twinks, and I was like, dude, like, does Ralph, your dad, does your dad know like what a twink is? I don't
No,
think
but
my
you're
mom
gonna ask no, my dad definitely doesn't, but you're gonna ask him. We're gonna have lots of questions for my dad when you
Oh yeah,
come to Missouri.
we should start making a list of questions to ask your dad when I'm in Missouri, because have we announced it here and are we allowed to?
We haven't announced it. Let's do it.
So, folks, we have some things coming up, and if you're listening to this, thank you for getting this far into our recap. But we have some live events coming up, so I want to shout out, or we want to shout out. I'll go first, and I'll say that in July, if you are on the Northeast, or if you happen to have an interest in coming to Provincetown, Massachusetts, it is a gay destination for both queer men and women, and if you're no gender or all genders, or both genders or whatever, if you're not in the binary, it's a great destination. And we are doing a show on July 21st at 9 p.m. at the Art House in Provincetown, so that's very exciting. So we'll have more information for that soon for you. And also, Anne, you tell us the next piece of information and why it will be important for us to have a little black book with questions for Ralph.
So we, our little traveling bus and truck tour, you might know her from, are going to be performing in Columbia, Missouri, my hometown, for Midmo Pride Fest on Friday, September 25th, 7 p.m. at Cafe Berlin. So, again, if you're a Midwesterner, if you haven't been to Columbia, Missouri, it's a great little college town. You'll really enjoy it. There's plenty of stuff to do for a weekend. Come and see us. We're going to, they do Pride in September, at the end of September. It's my birthday weekend.
Hmm.
They do Pride then so that the students from the University of Missouri can attend. So it's like very, I attended last year for the first time because I happened to be home around that time period. And I was so charmed by all of it because let's see, hometown pride in a smaller city of about 100,000 people means that people descend from all of the neighboring small towns. This is Midmo Pride. It's not just my hometown. There's a pride parade. Last year at the pride parade, they had people in pup masks. And I was so proud because I thought it was, oop, that's me. That's my straw. It's I thought it was gonna be so family friendly that there would be like a lot of erasure of like sex and queer community within the umbrella of queerness. And no, there were pups marching in the parade in broad daylight in Columbia, Missouri, and I was pleased. So September 25th, join us in Missouri. July 21st, join us in Provincetown. We are really taking the show on the road. And if you want us to come visit you, you know where to find us. Email us, DM us, bring us to your town, get us in touch with your university. We love traveling with this show, and we like to find a local actress we will have a local actress at each event, so we're really looking forward to it.
Local, meaning that they'll be in our presence, but also may have local ties to be determined.
Yes, not like a Columbia, Missouri actress, but someone who has ties to Missouri, and we're gonna fly him in, don't worry.
Um, so we're gonna ask Ralph about if he knows what a twink is. I'm sure you that my mother doesn't,
Yeah.
but I felt like there were at least 2 jokes about twinks in there, and then also some lesbian jokes. I mean, Marla Mindell, I have to say, Marla went to, I can't remember the name of the school, Penn Ridge. She went to a neighboring high school in Pennsylvania, to my high school, and I believe, and her school also had a pretty established theater program. She was in a production of Blood Brothers that I watched at the Thespian State Conference one year. She was one of the moms. And then she won the like big scholarship, which I think was $500, LOL. And she sang Sing Happy from Flora the Red Menace. It's where I learned that song. She was so incredible at 18 years old. And then I have reconnected with her a bit here and there, or not reconnected with her. I didn't know her, but I introduced myself to her via being an insane person, and have sort of, some sort of a parasocial relationship with her. But it was really cool to see her on the stage dancing in the opening number as Celine Dion. But then also she got she got a joke in about, who doesn't like semen? Well, talk to lesbians. And then she had a talk to Pink. She knows what it's about. And I thought that was so funny. And also,
Yeah,
like,
she got a good bit in.
I'm assuming Pink had to sign off on it. And Pink said, you know what? I can take the joke.
Yeah, I think Pink is game, which was such a delight. So I feel like that's the production value, which is really why we watch the Tony Awards, is for the showbiz of it all. But let's get into the awards. I just want to say I was really rooting for June Squibb, and I'm quite sad that she didn't win. I thought she had a decent chance.
Go ahead.
I love Lori Metcalf. I
She's
love
so
her.
talented.
She is one of our greats. She is incredible. I thought she was very good in this production, but I could not believe the speech. All right, folks, if you want to hear the rest of this episode, go on over to You Might Know Her From's Patreon. That's patreon.com/You Might Know Her From. You can subscribe at a variety of tiers. And guess what? The entry-level tier gets you access to our recaps, and that includes this one-off Tony 2026 recap. We love you. We'll see you over there.